So you want to play through chord changes with effortless, intuitive mastery. Good, because I'm not here to waste your time with theory and sheet music. I'm here to get straight to the point. Straight to the point of making beautiful music that flows directly from the innermost depths of your soul. You know why? Because I'm Blake Hawley, and I've been growth hacking guitarist to comprehensive mastery for over a decade. My methodology is the synthesis of first principle pedagogical techniques derived from the greatest musicians this world has ever seen. I'm talking about John Coltrane, Bach, Wes Montgomery, Adam Jones, Django Reinhardt, Frederick Thorndahl. I've integrated the developmental processes of these musical thought leaders into a single unified practice system. Once you can apply this system to your own practice, the sky's the limit. It will be like you hit the turbo booster on your musical development. The reason you're struggling to make meaningful progress right now is because your practice isn't focused. My system is about directing your focus to key leverage points so that you're always getting the maximum return on your energetic investment in the practice room. So what's the system? Well, it's a 3-step process, okay? Step 1, we're going to apply a simple triadic framework to any set of chord changes. In this example, I'm going to use Giant Steps by John Coltrane just to illustrate how this system can instantly make you understand one of the most complex jazz tunes ever written. So I'm going to take this major triad shape and I'm going to play that through each chord change of Giant Steps. And I'm not thinking about rhythm. I'm just trying to hear these harmonic movements. So it sounds something like this. Right? You instantly comprehend the first chunk of Giant Steps because you can hear that harmony moving and your ears are associating those harmonic movements with these shapes. So you'll go through the whole song this way and you're thinking like you're Bach, right? I call this the Bach triad exercise, which I apply to every set of chord changes I can get my hands on when I want to learn them and master them. So it would sound like this for Giant Steps. That's level 1. You stick only to those triads. You don't even give yourself another option. The point is you are anchoring into those shapes. Now, what happens once you anchor into those shapes in that fretboard geometry and your ears start to connect the fretboard geometry to the harmonic movements, well, then you can explore possibilities outside of those triads. And we're going to get there, right? That comes in phase 3. Let's go to phase 2 first. So phase 2 is about harmonic rhythm. The goal of phase 2 is to acclimate your ears to the pacing of the chord changes, okay? So what that literally means is how many beats does each chord change get? So in Giant Steps, sometimes the chords get 2 beats, sometimes the chords get 4 beats, but you need to get your ears used to that because when you play in rhythm, you have to hear that harmony moving over time, which is an abstract concept, but we're going to master it together. So phase 2 practice looks something like this. And so on. Now, once you can play through an entire set of chord changes using that basic triadic framework, you're ready for level 3. So now you have these anchor points. We're going to slowly work our way from these anchor points into improvisation. And this includes chords, okay? Because here's a key thing to always remember about guitar. Everything that is a chord can also be played as single notes and vice versa. And this full circles all the way back to the first phase of the system because these shapes are chords. I'm just playing them one note at a time. Listen to them as chords. You're full circling. Now this applies in many more complex levels, right? Because in jazz, we're using a lot of 7th chords. We're not just using triads. But don't underestimate the power of triads. If you can play through tunes on just triads alone, you will sound better than most people because most people who improvise are missing the point of chord changes. The point of chord changes is to play them as clearly as possible and let them do all the work for you. How do you do that? You mostly stick to triads. Obviously, there are plenty of opportunities to escape the triadic framework, but generally speaking, triads get you about 77% of the way there. The last 23% is playing what we call outside or tension notes, but that's just a very small part. So we don't really need to worry about that so much in our fundamental development. It naturally emerges later. So when you take this program, right, when you sign up for the program, we're going to get into every single permutation of this 3-step system. And we're going to do that in about 15 weeks because it doesn't really take longer than that for you to completely open your mind up to the whole concept and all the possibilities, right? You already probably almost do fully understand it. And unfortunately, I'm probably going to lose some of you because I just gave you the whole secret, right? Didn't I? But really, I'm not worried about that because you're going to quickly see that I've only scratched the surface here. Obviously, you can't just improvise over standards by going, right? That's not gonna suffice. So where it turns into comprehensive mastery is when you apply something called voice leading to that. And voice leading is about finding the most direct path from one chord change to the next, right? So it's still a geometric principle. Look at how this is pretty clunky, this movement. It sounds pretty good, no doubt, and you're very clear on what the harmonic movement is, but it's clunky because your hand is moving a lot. So a more efficient way using voice leading might be something like this. That makes sense, right? And what that is, that's what the masters do. That's what real bebop playing is. It's voice leading like that in real time at breakneck speeds and ballads and everything in between. Voice leading is ultimately what you're setting yourself up to do, but you anchor yourself to these fundamental shapes of any set of chord changes and you'll always refer back to them. But as you already probably can picture in your mind, they all expand, right? It's not just, it's really, right? There's all those notes surrounding the basic triad, and that's why the framework is so powerful, because it starts with just the most important bare bones thing that you need, the triad, which instantly gets the harmonic point across, and then that also sets you up to expand around those areas where the triads are. Ultimately, you're aiming to play everything in one position like I just did. Right? Just play everything in one position, almost thinking like a horn player at that point, but you're just taking all of the best thought paradigms and applying them to your own understanding. And it just applies to every single set of chord changes, every tune ever written under the sun, including like Alan Holdsworth stuff. I mean, I've literally applied this to Alan Holdsworth tunes. There's no music it doesn't apply to, but you can already kind of see that jazz holds a fundamental principle of all music, which is how to think about improvising. Now, obviously, improvising happens in all different styles of music, but in jazz, you really get a framework for how to develop great, effective improvising. And by effective, I mean clear. Everyone knows what you're doing. You're letting the song speak for itself, right? With giant steps, you're letting giant steps speak for itself when you're playing those triads. You're not trying to, reinvent the wheel. You're just trying to let that tune sing, right? And the triads make it sing the most beautifully. Go ahead, apply it, prosper with it, okay? And if you ever want specific direct guidance, you can come directly to me and we can do a one-on-one 15-week program. Now, I'm not going to be able to do this forever because, as you can already tell, this is going to go completely viral. There's going to be a point where I'm not going to be able to do any kind of one-on-one teaching, so I'm offering it now for the lucky few people who are going to see this video early on in this development, right? Because this ties into my online music academy, Systems for Creation, right? I'm using these frameworks to create lessons every single week in that school. And when you complete my 15-week program, I give you free lifetime access to my online school because you have the knowledge. You deserve it. It's like a free scholarship for life because you already know the frameworks, you already know the systems, and you can connect with people in that group to teach them the systems, right? Because once you know the system, you can go and teach it and you can make money. And a lot of my students have started businesses out of this. And that's why I started the school, to connect those teachers with the students who just show up to the school organically from my YouTube channel. Good. I'll see you very soon, young Padawan.